Hi there, don't forget to click subscribe. This post was first published on creepypasta.org. BU user Zaju whispers in Ward 13 Part 2. The whispers grew louder, accompanied by soft footsteps that stopped right outside her room. Vanessa's heart pounded in her chest as she lay frozen, the darkness thick around her. Suddenly, the door creaked open slowly, revealing a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It was Vincent, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. "Vincent, what are you doing here?" Vanessa managed to whisper, her voice trembling. He stepped closer, his movements deliberate and unsettling. "I need to show you something, Vanessa. Something important." Fear gripped Vanessa as she backed away, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. She knew she should call for help, but fear held her tongue. Vincent moved closer, his expression now unreadable. "Please, Vanessa," he urged softly, his voice almost pleading. Vanessa hesitated for a moment, then steeled herself and screamed for help. Within moments, the security personnel arrived, pulling Vincent away from her. His eyes burned with a mixture of anger and anguish as he was restrained and led away. Vanessa spent the rest of the night in shock, her mind replaying the events over and over. She couldn't understand what had happened to Vincent, what had driven him to such desperate measures. The next morning, she was called into a meeting with the facility's administration, where they informed her that Vincent had been transferred to a more secure unit for evaluation and treatment. Relieved yet haunted by the ordeal, Vanessa continued her work with a newfound caution. She couldn't shake the feeling that Vincent's story was far from over, and that the darkness that lurked within him was deeper than anyone had imagined. As she made her rounds that day, passing by Vincent's now empty room, she couldn't help but wonder if she had missed something crucial, something that could have prevented the horror that had unfolded. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, one thing was clear to Vanessa: the challenges of her job had taken on a new dimension, one where the line between compassion and caution blurred in the face of unimaginable darkness. Several weeks passed since Vincent was transferred to the more secure unit for evaluation and treatment. Vanessa tried to resume her routine, but the memory of Vincent's unsettling presence lingered like a shadow. She found herself checking and double-checking locks, jumping at every unexpected noise in the otherwise quiet corridors of the facility. One morning, as Vanessa prepared for her shift, she received a call from the administration. They informed her that Vincent was being transferred back to their unit after a thorough re-evaluation. Despite her reservations, Vanessa knew she had a job to do, and part of that job was to provide care and support to all patients, including Vincent. When Vincent arrived later that day, Vanessa felt a mix of apprehension and empathy. She observed him closely during their interactions, looking for any signs of the darkness that had surfaced before. Vincent appeared subdued, almost resigned, as if the time apart had drained him of whatever energy he had left. "Hey, Vincent," Vanessa greeted him cautiously as he entered his room. He glanced up at her briefly before turning away. "Hello, Vanessa. How are you feeling?" she asked softly, trying to gauge his mood. Vincent shrugged, his expression guarded. "I'm fine." Vanessa nodded, deciding not to press further. She knew from experience that pushing Vincent could trigger unpredictable reactions. Instead, she focused on ensuring he settled back into his routine and received the support he needed. Over the following days, Vanessa noticed a subtle change in Vincent. He seemed more withdrawn than before, less responsive to attempts at conversation or encouragement. Despite her best efforts to engage him in activities with other patients, Vincent preferred to remain alone in his room, immersed in his thoughts. One evening, Vanessa received a note slipped under her door. It was from Vincent. "Vanessa, I need to talk to you. Please come to my room tonight. It's important." "Vincent," Vanessa hesitated, her mind racing with memories of their previous encounter. She knew she should be cautious, but she also couldn't ignore the plea in Vincent's words. After informing a colleague and setting a time limit, Vanessa gathered her courage and knocked on Vincent's door. Vincent? It's Vanessa. Can I come in? There was a moment of silence before Vincent opened the door slowly, his demeanor unusually calm. Vanessa entered cautiously, taking in the dimly lit room and Vincent's tense posture. What did you want to talk about, Vincent? She asked gently, keeping a safe distance. Vincent hesitated, his gaze fixed on the floor. I don't know where to start. Everything feels overwhelming. Vanessa nodded sympathetically, sensing the weight of Vincent's words. You don't have to figure it all out right now. Take your time. Vincent looked up at her, his eyes searching hers for understanding. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Vanessa. Being here, it's like being trapped in a nightmare. Vanessa listened quietly, her heart going out to him despite the fear gnawing at the edges of her mind. You're not alone, Vincent. We're here to help you. Vincent shook his head slowly, a bitter smile tugging at his lips. You don't understand. No one does. I want to understand, Vanessa insisted gently. Tell me what you're feeling. Vincent hesitated again, his hands clenched into fists. I feel rage, anger that I can't control. It's like a fire burning inside me, consuming everything. Vanessa felt a chill run down her spine, but she maintained her composure. You're stronger than that, Vincent. We can find ways to help you manage your feelings. Vincent's expression darkened, his voice dropping to a whisper. You don't know what I'm capable of. Then show me, Vanessa urged softly, her voice steady despite the rising tension. Show me who you really are. Vincent stared at her for a long moment, his eyes filled with turmoil. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it to Vanessa without a word. Vanessa unfolded the paper and read the words written in Vincent's neat handwriting. I can't stop thinking about it. The darkness inside me grows stronger every day. I fear what I might do next. Vanessa's heart sank as she read Vincent's confession. She looked up at him, her eyes filled with compassion. Vincent nodded slowly, tears welling up in his eyes. I'm scared, Vanessa. Scared of myself. Vanessa reached out and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. You don't have to face this alone. We'll get through this together. Vincent looked at her gratefully, a glimmer of hope flickering in his eyes. In that moment, Vanessa knew that despite the darkness that surrounded them, there was still a chance for Vincent to find his way back to the light. As Vanessa continued to interact cautiously with Vincent over the following days, she noticed a growing tension in his demeanor. He became increasingly withdrawn, refusing meals and ignoring attempts at conversation. Vanessa felt a deep sense of unease, fearing that Vincent's inner turmoil was spiraling out of control once more. One evening, Vanessa was called to the security office urgently. There had been an incident in Vincent's wing of the facility. As she hurried down the corridors, dread clutched at her heart. She arrived to a scene of chaos. Staff members were gathered in shock, while security personnel were restraining a visibly agitated Vincent. What happened? Vanessa asked breathlessly, her eyes darting between Vincent and the distressed staff.